Hello and good morning. We're in week 8. We're getting close here. Let's take a look. This is some trig, so you had to memorize SOHCAHTOA here. So, TOA, this is going to be on your EOC. Some of you might have to retest. Put a dot right here at the 20 degrees. This is opposite and hypotenuse, so that's the sine of 20 degrees is equal to opposite over the hypotenuse. You're going to get 7 times the sine of 20. So on your calculator, let's do this. You're going to press 20 and then press sine and then times 7. And make sure you get 2.4. Okay, on this next one, you're looking for the angle. Put a dot. It's still opposite over hypotenuse, so it's going to be the sine of angle x is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Here you're going to divide by the word sine, and it's going to become the arc sine. So take your calculator, 5 divided by 10, press equals, hit shift, press sine, press equals. It's a 30-degree angle. And there it is. And that's your review on trigonometry. Make sure you know it. Hey, SOHCAHTOA. Let's go on here. To convert, you have to memorize two things, either pi over 180 or 180 over pi. Okay? So this is, if you look here, this is in pi, so that's called radian measure. So what you want to do here is multiply by something to get rid of that pi to put it in degrees. So it's got to be this one because they'll reduce. So put 180 over pi and then cancel this out. 6 goes in 18.3, so this is a 30-degree angle. And that's how you do that. On this other one, they want you to convert it to radians, so you want pi. So this one right here you're going to use. So you're going to multiply 90 times pi over 180. You're going to reduce, 90 goes into 90, 180 twice, so it's going to be pi over 2. So pi over 2 is equal to a 90-degree angle. So this angle right here is either 90 degrees or pi over 2 in radian measure. And you need to know that for Algebra 2, so you have to be able to convert. This one right here, let's take a look. I want you to draw this diagram, put a star by this one. This one's going to be a little harder, so listen carefully. Here's how you do it. To get the slither, you're going to first take the area of the sector minus the triangle and what's going to be left is the slither. Draw that diagram because that's what we're doing here. We're doing the area of the sector minus the triangle. Well, let's take a look here. Well, to get the area of the sector, you're going to put 144 degrees right here. So it's going to be, area is pi radius squared, and you want a fraction of that, so it's going to be 144 over 360. That's going to give you the area of the sector, and then you have to subtract that triangle. Now here's how you do the triangle, so pay attention. We're going to first turn this into an isosceles triangle, which it is. This is 144 degrees. This right here is 5, and this is 5, so it's an isosceles. We're going to drop an altitude to make a right triangle here. Okay? When we do that, we're going to split this upper angle in half. So that's going to be 72 degrees. We're going to pull out this triangle right here, this one right there. We're going to put 72 degrees right there. We know that this is 5. We're looking for the height and the base. Okay, because to do area of a triangle, you need 1/2 the base times the height. Now this one right here is a harder problem, so pay attention. To get the base, it's opposite over hypotenuse, so that's going to be the sine of 72 degrees is equal to opposite over the hypotenuse. To get the height, that's adjacent over hypotenuse, so that's going to be the cosine of 72 degrees is equal to adjacent over the hypotenuse. If you work these out, you get your answers for B. So here you're going to multiply by 5, so it's going to be 5 times the sine of 72 degrees is equal to the base, and then this one is going to be 5 times the cosine of 72 degrees. Stay with me, okay? Make sure you rework this one at home. I definitely want you to do that. So I'm going to take 72 I'm going to press sign, and then I'm going to do times 5, and I get 4.755 is the base. Okay? The height is going to be 72 cosine times 5. And I get 1.54508. And that's the height. So I have the base and the height. So it's going to be this times this divided by 2, because it's 1/2 the base times the height is a triangle. So we're going to take that times 4.755, press equals, divide by 2, press equals, and I get that. But keep in mind here, you have 2 triangles to equal that whole thing. So you got to multiply this by 2. Make sure you double it. So it's going to be 7.34. So here you're going to subtract 7.34, and when you do that, you'll get that slither. So it's a little harder here. So it's 144 times 3.14 times the radius squared, so that's 5 times 5 is 25, divided by 360 minus that 7.34. Let's just finish it up. Okay, so the top is that divided by 360. I get 31.4 minus 7.34, and when I do that, I get my answer of 24.06 square inches, and that's how you do the slither. And that's how you do those ones where you have to figure out some kind of weird triangle. Okay, look again. You take that triangle out, you drop an altitude, you split it in half, you figure out the base and the height, you multiply the base and the height, you divide by 2, and then once you do that, you got to double it because you have 2 triangles, and then you have to subtract it from the area of the sector, and that will give you the slither. There it is. Make sure you redo this one. We're going to go on now to what you're doing today. Well, what you're doing today is arc length and area of the sector. So this is actually a little easier than the one I just showed you, okay? Let's turn our attention now to MCR class. All right, so for MCR class, we're doing something called completing the square. All right, so your bell work is right there, and that's using the quadratic equation. But let's turn our attention now to completing the square. When you complete the square, you take the number and you move it over. So you're going to get x squared plus 6x is equal to, plus some number is equal to a negative 8. Make sure you put a box right here. So to complete the square, you're going to take half of the middle term, and then you're going to square it. So square the middle term. So half of that is 3, and 3 squared is 9. So you're going to add 9 to both sides. And when you do that, this becomes something called a perfect square trinomial. So 3 times 3 is 9, so it's going to be plus 3. And then this is going to be a 1. Now to solve this equation, you got to get rid of this. So you're going to do the square root. When you do the square root, it's a plus or minus, just so you know that. This cancels. You get x plus 3. The square root of 1 is 1, but it's going to be a plus 1 or a minus 1. You got 2 possibilities there. And then now you're going to subtract 3 from both sides. When you do that, you get x is equal to a negative 3 plus 1, and x is equal to a negative 3 minus 1. So your answer is going to be a negative 2 and a negative 4. Let's try one together. Copy this one down right here. All right, so you want to set it up. First thing you want to do is move this to the other side. So you're going to get n squared plus 18n plus some number is equal to 40. That's your first step. Okay? Once your work is organized, you're going to take half of that, which is 9, and 9 times 9 is 81. And so you're going to add 9 to, you're going to add 81 to both sides. When you do that, this becomes a perfect square. So 9 times 9, so it's going to be x plus 9 is equal to whatever that is, 121. Okay? And then to get rid of this, you're going to do the square root on both sides. So this cancels, so you get x plus 9 is equal to a plus. Now this is a perfect square, so that's going to be 11. So it's going to be a plus 11 and a minus 11. You're going to move the 9 over, which becomes a negative, and it's going to be plus 11 and then a negative 9 minus 11. So your two answers here, that's going to be one more 10. So I think it's 12 here, and this is going to be a negative 20. And that's how you complete the square. So today, guess what you're doing? Yeah, you guessed it. You're completing the square. And the answers are right here. And you might say, well, Mr. Toops, how do I know that I got it right? Well, you take your calculator, you press 87, you hit shift, square root, and then you do minus 7. And what I get here is 2.3. So if you got 2.3 for this, then you did it right, okay? So make sure you know how to convert your answers. Here's your worksheet for today. Nothing but completing the square. So we're going to spend today and tomorrow on completing the square. Could you use the quadratic equation? Absolutely, you could use the quadratic equation. All right, that's it. Have a good morning, and I'll see you in class.